Hello, tribe. So, Aesthetics by Pete Brown is a holistic day spa that is dedicated to your total wellness. Did that sound commercial to you? Well, I'm sorry. Let me just say welcome, but I wanted to get that out of the way first. In Jeremiah, God says that he will provide a resting place for his people. And if you haven't heard yet, we are most definitely that resting place. We are here to feed into you mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. We are here to help you boss up, level up in every way. And so if you are not a member of the tribe, if you have heard about this crazy day spa or my unstable self as the owner, feel free to check us out. It's nothing for you to come in and see one of our women sitting down with a cup of coffee because we're as her on the I choose violent path today, or just to get a soothing facial to reset. You have to understand that this is a sanctuary, and we look forward. We are privileged to be able to treat you, commune with you, thank God for you, pamper you. I don't know how many yous I could throw in there. You know what I mean? Because our gift is to serve, right? And we fully devoted to the mission of Christ. And part of that mission is making sure you have a sanctuary and a place of peace. I hope we're meeting that. If we're not, drop it in the comments. Let me know. There's always room for improvement, right? But if we are, share with a friend, join our affiliate program, and come hang with us. See you, tribe.
We live in a world where the majority of women are struggling financially. This is true for all women, and it's especially true if you're a woman of color or belong to any other marginalized group. And this is no accident. There are oppressive, patriarchal systems in place, systems designed to keep you overworking and under-earning, systems that have existed for centuries, designed to keep women and people of color struggling and broke. But here's the good news. Despite all the odds stacked against you, you can defy the odds and you can win. Other women have done it. I've done it. I want to teach you how to do it. And that is why I wrote my book, We Should All Be Millionaires. In this book, I explain how to stop making broke-ass decisions and start making million-dollar decisions, how to change your mindset about money, and how to believe, really believe, that you are worthy of having more money and capable of doing this. But this book isn't just about your mindset. We discuss what you need to be doing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly to increase your income and start moving down the path to wealth. Read this book and you will start making more money. Women are working very hard, but we are undervalued, underpaid, under-earning, and we do not have enough money. And that is why the world needs this book. We should all be millionaires right now. Who should read this book? Any woman who wants to have a lot more money, period. You work as a cashier at the grocery store? Read this book. You're thinking about starting your own business? This book is for you. You're already running a business, but you want to generate a lot more money? Read this book. You work for a big company, you're in corporate America? You should read this book too. Regardless of your current income level or profession, this book will open up your eyes, expand your mind, and expand your wallet as well. You will notice my face on the cover, and this is no accident. Once this book comes out, I want a young Black woman to go to her public library or go to her local bookstore or go online to shop, and I want that young woman to see a Black woman's face on the cover of this book. And I want her to think, if she can do this, then I can do this too.
Hello, tribe. Oh my God. So we are still getting the ladies jumping on, y'all. We are going to give them time to get on, and I am going to take this time to do the intro, right? And so I know what you're saying. Portia, this is the second time that we've seen this book club thing. Where are you meeting these women? How are y'all doing this? What? How do I get on the screen versus just in the audience? And if you're watching this on replay, I get it. So I'm going to tell you where I'm meeting these women, right? Y'all, this bun has been in my hair all day. It's slick, giving me a headache. So it all started with an app, right? Ain't that how all love stories start, nowadays? I saw them, they saw me, We started talking portfolios, growth, um, mental, physical, and spiritual enlightenment. And then my fantasy squad was formed. You know what I mean? But on the real, if you don't know what I mean when I say fantasy squad, that tells me you also did not read the book for this month. These women are dynamic. They're part of our Women in Business Network meetup group. And when I say are, I mean myself, Jessica Martin, who is a dynamic director, leader of the group. She does a lot of travel and she keeps women on task, as well as Jessica Jernigan. She is also a dynamic organizer of the group. She is all about your total health, wellness, so if you are not part of the group, y'all, go to the Meetup app, select Nashville Women in Business Meetup, and join the tribe, okay? So as these ladies hop on, and I promise y'all, as they hop in, I will add them. I kind of want to do, this book. I was not prepared for this book. I was not prepared for this. I'm gonna stop putting my hair up. Like, it's gonna stop giving me a headache. Let me put this. I was not prepared for this book in that I thought when one of our members recommended this book, I thought it was going to be like a mindset. No, I'm lying. I thought it was going to be like a financial book. Like they were going to be like, budget your way to 7 figures, right? That is not this book. I don't know if y'all paid attention to the intro. If you're catching this on replay and you think this is going to be a book club meeting about a financial book, I need you to pause, rewind, and go back to the intro with my girl, because that is not what this was. It was a mindset book. And anyone who's been to the day spa, anyone who's been a mentee of mine, any one of my students in the class, they will tell you, I often joke about how we have to break ourselves of that broke bitch mindset. And it's like that broke bitch mindset is the worst enemy you'll ever have. Like, oh, y'all, I cannot stress to you, like, that broke bitch mindset. I once heard this saying, we're born looking like our daddies. We die looking like our decisions. Let that sit. Let that sit. Because that very much epitomizes the broke bitch mindset. Like, that was a saying that, all jokes aside, tribe. That mindset was like, and how many of us don't understand the decisions we're making? Now, Joanne, baby, it's saying device not connected. I don't know if you can see me, but I can see you. Welcome to the tribe, queen. Welcome to the meetup. I hope we get to see you, because I can't wait to hear your feedback on this book. But so this book, I feel, should be renamed Killing That Broke Bitch Mindset, honestly, because she talks about things like mentally upgrading your everyday life, running the numbers, brainstorming with your money makers or your money making services, or just making the commitment to upgrade, right? Like, saying I want to be worth 7 figures is one thing, but being willing to put in the work to be worth 7 figures, like, that's something totally different. That's totally different. So, yeah, y'all, this book was not that. It was not that. And because I know a lot of you can catch this on replay, a couple girls have come on, but they don't have the video. I'm not sure if they can hear. Let me see if she can hear me at least. Oh, okay. So Joanne is saying that you need to at least connect your mic to be able to give the feedback. So jump in whenever you're ready, queen. We have 18 dynamic women who RSVP tonight. Hopefully they will be on, but if they don't, try it. Me and you can have dialogue all day long. So let's start by just addressing the first step of the 4 steps of We Should All Be Millionaires, right? And in her first step, what she said was mentally upgrade your everyday life. So if you want to be a millionaire, and I think y'all hear this a lot in that whole um, manifest your destiny type capacity. Hello, Brianna, I am going to slide you in, Queen. Okay, we can see you, girl. I feel like I should tell you. Can you hear me?
Let's see. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. I was telling the tribe, because we have a couple girls that they don't have their video up, but I was telling them, like, one of the steps in this book. First of all, did you read the book? What did you think of the book? We lost her. Well, hopefully she'll jump back in. Hopefully. But so, okay, you hear them say, think about the woman you want to be, right? What does she look like? What does she sound like? Who is she going to be? And then what does her life look like? What is she eating in the morning? What is her daily routine? What is she wearing? Those type of things. And then start to live like that every day. There was another saying that I heard that says, in 10 years, you'll look like the same you'll be the exact same person you are now, except for the books you read and the people you met along the way. Which means the difference between now and 10 years from now is your mind, your mindset. And so I will tell y'all, one of those moments for me was I had to stop panicking over, I'm glad you're here. Okay. I had to stop panicking over, I don't know how to put it into words. Like, I would look at my bank account in business. I'm talking about business now. I, as someone who's a generator, so I'm talking from experience, right? I want y'all to get to where I am. I would look at my bank account 10 years ago early on and have small panic attacks, not because the numbers wasn't there, but because I would think of every possibility of where I could have went wrong. I shortchanged myself. I didn't push enough. Like, all these negative thoughts and scenarios. And if you've read the book, you'll know she talks strongly about how you speak to yourself in your head, and it would create these panic attacks. Like, I wasn't charging, gone are the days, Jesus. Y'all, 10 years ago, I did a chemical peel for $25. Now, some of my babies catching this on replay, and some of my babies who are jumping in live is like, Portia, when? Can I get that special? I did a chemical peel with my chest, with conviction, y'all. $25. My acids cost more than $25. And what I realized when we were talking about addressing that broke chick mentality, right, is I charged so little because the voice in my head would tell me I wasn't worth what these other estheticians were charging. Now it's twofold for me though, because I tell my clients, so if any of y'all are watching this, co-sign me in the comments, but I tell my clients, I may go to hell for many things, but price gouging you or taking advantage of you won't be one. Because skincare is very much an emotional journey, right? And I've been on that roller coaster. So in my head, at that moment, it was like, you're not good enough. How do you know what you know? It's going to be the one time you're wrong, Portia. The one time you're wrong. And it's just going to validate that you're not worth it. It was that imposter syndrome that kept me from charging what I was worth and being who I was. And it took me finally, I don't know when that breaking point actually happened. I'm thinking through it. I think it took it took I don't want to say years, at least a year or two. It took me building a tribe within my business of supportive women who, y'all, I was undercharging to the point where they would leave like $40, $50 tips. I mean, they still tip me well now, but then they would leave these tips and then tell me I'm undercharging. They would be like, you need to get your life together. So making that everyday upgrade, y'all, my tribe is on here. I love you, Beth, because I hate talking to myself. I need the vibe. I'm gonna bring her in. Okay, I'm sorry. She's one of those. But like, so that was a chef. By the way, y'all, let me tell you, you are who your network is. And Beth owns Elegant Scribbler, which is the ghostwriting company that handles 89% of all of the writing promo stuff you see for us. I'm saying 89% because every now and then she don't catch me in time and I think I can do it and realize I'm not Elegant Scribbler. But Bev, we were talking about step one, which is mentally upgrade your everyday life. And I was saying for me, 10 years ago, that was hard because I didn't think I was worth what everyone was telling me I should be charging.
That makes sense.
Like, how does that step work with you as a businesswoman?
You know what? Honestly, I can say 10 years ago, I didn't even know I was going to have a business. But every day is a challenge. Like every day I have to say, wow, thank you, God, that these people are trusting me to communicate for them with my words. And so every day I have to just be thankful because it's a daily walk. It's not for me, it wasn't a speedy journey. And I am still sometimes shocked when people choose me. However, I know I'm awesome, but it took me a long time to get here.
Girl, I will say, well, here's my next question. So in this, for her step one, it was like mentally upgrade your life every day. Is it something that you have to start here? Like, I don't know now in my walk if I wake up every morning and be like, chick, you worth it. You know what I mean? Or like that TikTok, bitch, you doing a good job. I don't know if like there was a time where I had to wake up and be my own hype man.
Right.
Do you do that now?
Okay, now I don't. But there was a time when I did. There was a time when I had to wake up with a plan, and the plan was you're gonna get this done. You're gonna, even if it was go meet somebody today and just talk to somebody new. Like there was a time when I had to be my own high person. Now, right now, I wake up like, thank you that I got to get up this morning. But
True.
But yeah, there was a time when that was an issue. That was a concern.
It's funny you say even talking to people because I struggle with that as well. Like if we're talking about the daily mental journey, Beth will tell y'all a lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but I'm an introvert. But I am very much not in an introverted business. Mm-hmm. So I would force myself to walk up to women early on, mostly women because I wasn't there for men yet. And I would be like, hey, beautiful, I liked it. And I would, in my head, I would like, you better make this shit look like you do it on a daily basis. I mean, she probably talking about you because I'll be talking about you, but you like the whole diatribe in my head. But I felt like then I had to force myself into a position where I was comfortable in the role I had to play for my company. Does that make sense? And I think
it does,
that
and you do it well.
Huh?
I said it does make sense and you do it well.
That's why I love you. You know what? Not as well. I still have that dialogue in my head. So not as well as everyone thinks. I was talking to well, I say that to say part, I think, of her saying mentally upgrade your everyday life. Part of that moment for me, and still part of that moment, is when you are a 7-figure business owner, when you are in that position, you can't be timid. You don't have the luxury of not being able to open your mouth and speak on the life you want to live. You know what I mean? You can't be a 7-figure business and let everybody but you control your business.
But you can't be a 5-figure business and let everybody but you control your business. Like that's only something you can do it. You can afford to do when you're. First off, you shouldn't be doing it, but it's something that happens, and it's only something you can afford to do when you're small. Because the minute you start to grow and be even a 6-figure business, you have to be the one in charge and in control, and
So,
you have to set the atmosphere, set the tone.
as a business owner, she said some very she that I'm glad we only at this moment because I know it's gonna bite me on the replay. I know it's gonna bite me on the replay. But I'm so glad I got someone that's part of my inner circle on here for what's about to be asked and said. And I'm so glad there's only a select few people watching live. But in the beginning of the book, she hit some heavy topics.
She does. She does.
Like, one of the ones that hit me the hardest, because I want to know which one hit you, was when she was talking about the day she kind of did a live about the social injustice. You know what I mean? And it made that inner voice in my head when she hit that in the book, when she was like, I was fed up, I was pissed. I had to get it out. She was like I didn't worry about if I was cute. That hit me because as a business owner, I look at those moments, like, you know what I mean? And you know, because you see me outside of here, and it does affect you. It affects you as a minority, as a woman, like as an African American, as a woman, as a business owner. Like those moments mentally affect you, but I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I should speak because my clientele was so diverse. I
You
was very
have
proud of
anybody.
her, and I was a little judgmental in myself because in the moment when she was fed up, tired, overwhelmed with that situation, she spoke on it. She did it with fear. And with the exception of that one moment, you seen it on social media when I was talking about how my mom made me buy the lock under my door and associating that with like the Breonna Taylor situation. Like I was very politically correct. And now I regret that I didn't share with my community how I really, because I'm sure look, we in Nashville alone, we are almost 3,000 strong. So I'm sure at least 10 of them was probably feeling what I was feeling. So looking at how she started the book, how do you feel about the book, about you as a business? Like how did that the beginning of the book and how, like, because I wasn't prepared for that. So how did it affect you, honestly?
Um, you know what? I kind of applauded her, but I don't know that I would have come out that abrasively. And I know that's a word.
No, because she took no prisoners.
She did, and she came out strong. But you know what? It made the book itself made me, um, it drew me in. So it made me want to see what else she was going to share and however she was going to handle it. But personally, yeah, she came out strong. She did. She came out strong, but it was good. And it was good to hear and see someone taking a stand on her platform, kind of like, this is how I feel, this is it. And if you don't like me, oh well.
I did. I'm not gonna lie. There was a couple. I'm trying to remember the chapter, but her stance was so strong and resonated with me so much that I remember, y'all. This is one of those times. Like, I'm a crybaby. Don't judge me. But there was a time where I had to pull over my car, Beth. You weren't with me that day, and I just dropped my head and cried because I was like, everything I held here. She was just like, fuck you, I'm gonna say it.
Exactly.
And I think that was exactly how she said it. Like, there was some cuss words in there, there was some frustration. And when she talked about women in business and the glass ceiling and corporate America, I was like,
but you know
any
what?
woman
Yeah, with when you're trying to draw your audience when you're writing, you got to come strong or go home. And so she came strong.
I hope y'all caught that tidbit from a professional writer. So if your social media post says, "Do you like me?" type 1 or 2, I'm gonna turn you into the elegant scribbler police. But go ahead.
No, but it made me think. But it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It made me think. It made me take a stand in my mind because I hadn't. Sometimes I stay away from the news. I know some of it you can't avoid, but sometimes I stay away from the news because I can't afford to walk around with that negative. It's not. Well, sometimes the news. Most of the time, the news is negative. Period. But I can't afford to walk around with that energy, and so sometimes I just stay away from it. But she made me face some things that I had not even taken in.
I will agree with that. I will say, as she segued out of that and further into the book, even still staying on that first step of upgrading your mental life every day, she made me see some things that were value programmed in me, for lack of a better term, conditioned, that I was conditioned for. I don't know, like,
So I know what value programmed means, but what about the people who are listening who don't?
this is why she's on my team. Because, we talked about this. I'm going to hit. So with me for value program, one of the struggles for me in my 20s was trying to figure out, like, what was me versus what was my parents, what was society, what was friends, what was me shifting up to meet other people. Like, I'm the woman I am now in my 30s because I addressed those, or I thought I addressed it, all of those, in my 20s. But I am college educated. I am on both sides of the debate, whether you're with W.E.B. Du Bois or Frederick Douglass. I've been blessed to now stand on both sides of that fence. So I'm both college educated and I've picked a damn trade. You know what I mean? And I'm realizing on a collegiate level, and even being raised by parents who are college educated, there are things that I thought was normal, that I thought was a value in me. But it turns out, I don't want to call it a generational curse, but I feel like it was a generational curse. And to say that something in our education system can be a generational curse feels wrong. But based off my experience from then and now, and even listening to this book, makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I identify with her saying, as a lawyer, she didn't want to go out and be underappreciated and devalued at these law firms. And so she was like, I'm going to start my own business, which is not the path of least resistance. You know what I mean? And I remember talking to my students, and after reading that in this book, I brought in a guest speaker for my students whose path wasn't my path, because I realized I was doing them a disservice expecting everyone to have my journey and my story.
Okay.
But there was a time where you would thought going somewhere and working yourself to the bone for 40 hours for 50K
Was
was your only option.
it-
And now you realize that your intellectual properties, the way your mind works, the way especially if you're a visionary. Beth, if you're a visionary, like, I don't know how many people have read the E-Myth. If you have not read the E-Myth, read the freaking E-Myth. Like, I am mad that it took me as long as it did to finally sit down and read that book. It's a quick read. It's a great listen. But rarely in the E-Myth, he talks about the hats we wear, like the visionary, the entrepreneur, or the manager, and the talent, right? You have a lot of talent, that's that trade, that don't have the vision. And I don't think that what women, because it's mostly women, it's why we're the highest educated, it's why we are storming corporate. A woman can look at freaking a $5 mirror from Walgreens or Walmart and be like, you know what? I'm gonna put 24 karat gold on it. I'm gonna bling it out. By the time I'm done, it's gonna look like Crate and Barrel. To be that visionary, that is an asset that you cannot put a price on. You know what I mean? Because the manager will always manage where they're at. The entrepreneur can start a business and create a system, but only the visionary can take that system into the next chapter, right? And so what this book taught me, as it segued from breaking my heart and making me judge my social stance, was that I had to value the visionary in me more. Trust her to deliver the vision to the manager and entrepreneur to me more. And then trust the people I have in place. The one thing I absolutely love, sis, about you and your company is you get me. You know what I mean? You get me when I'm not making sense, when I'm not completing sentences, when I'm showing you a picture that don't even sound like it go with what I'm saying, and you're like, "Oh, calm, like you are now." Yes. And then you take that and you turn it into words I couldn't find. And learning to trust the people around you to help that vision come to fruition when you want to have that, I'm trying to stop cussing, broke chick mindset. And you
Okay.
want to be scared and you want to be like, but what if I hand my baby to this person? And because they don't value my baby the way I value my baby, they mistreat my baby. So I think for me, part of that everyday mindset is learning to vet people, trust people, and then weed out the voices in my head that aren't mine, but or like social media. Social media whispers in the back of my mind all the time. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, I do.
They've done really, when I realized social media was going to be an issue for my core values as far as value programmed or personality program, is when I realized it was hard for me to watch a show for more than 30 seconds at a time.
Okay.
Because I gotten so used to watching TikToks, reels,
Oh,
clips. So I'm like, oh, you should be able to get to the point in 30 seconds. And then I'm like, Portia,
that's not how life is.
that's not
That's
even reality. They didn't even tell you the truth in 30 seconds. They lied to you for 30 seconds. You bought a hook, line, and sinker.
They had your attention. Right.
It was entertaining. And so I think too, that's also why I struggle when all of the content creators are like, you got to put out this content and you got to do, I can't lie that much.
Well, and we appreciate your authenticity, so we don't need you lying. What?
You just,
No, we appreciate that. I am not if you go to my social media, you will not find that I've been there recently. But I completely lost my train of thought. I apologize.
we were talking about how we've been value programmed from the college standpoint into business. Speaking of TikTok though, random thought, but not random. I was seeing a TikTok where this girl was like, she overheard a CEO talking to like HR or something, and they were saying that going into the next 10, 20 years, we will no longer be hiring employees. We will now be hiring freelance workers and whatnot because so many people are starting their own company. I hope those people are reading this book because starting a company is one thing. Understanding the value of the service you're bringing is something totally different. And if you start a company charging the same thing you were making hourly, and she hit on that in the book, you're still devaluing your services. You know what I mean? Like, unless you can quantify, I'm trying to figure out how. If you charge by the hour and you get really good at something, she said in the book. So if you're a writer, if you could type 150 words a minute or whatever, and you charge by an hour, and then you get to the point where you're typing 75 words per minute, now you're making less money for being more proficient. You know what I mean? And so did I summarize that correctly?
I'm sorry, a message just I missed what you said. So if you're making, so if you're once you master what you can do,
You
and
should
then
charge more.
yes, I agree. And I remember her saying that in the book. And
And
so yeah, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, and so my fear is that a lot of these people are starting business, not these people, a lot of people are starting businesses, especially people of color who
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that we've been value programmed to think $50 an hour, $10 an hour. Minimum wage works when you think there should be a cap or a minimum on how much you make per hour. And they're charging based on that versus the value of the service. You know, it's a good thing. I told one of my mentees when I say that, she was telling me how when she worked for her company, they paid her $25 an hour. If you're watching this on replay, baby, and I messed that number up, charge it to my head and not my heart. And she was trying to figure out what to charge her clients. And so she was like, I'm going to charge 25 an hour. And I said, no, you should charge about 150 or at least 75. And she said, why? And I said, because if a company paid you $25 an hour, then that company made 3 times as much off your work. So if you're doing the same work, you know the value of what you're doing is 3 times more than what you were getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how in this book, she's always like, whatever your price is, you're thinking of double it.
Right. You know what? And that challenged me because I know that my prices are competitive, but I think if I doubled them, they'd be more competitive, but it would make me, um,
It will price you out of a market.
yeah,
Is that
but
it?
I think it would. And I've still reconsidered it. Like I have actually considered it because I like the example that she gave about, there was something that she had done and she charged an astronomical amount for this, I guess, retreat. And some people said to her, that's way too much. You shouldn't charge that much. But there were people who showed up at the retreat for that amount of money. And so it challenged me to think about my prices. And if I doubled them, I'd have to be prepared to, if I lose customers because I doubled them, then I just have to be a little bit more strategic in a different manner. But I'd have to be prepared for that. And it made me kind of tense
That,
for me.
yeah. No, I know that tense feeling because I remember the first time I lost a member Girl, it was one of 35. Let me say that. At the time, this was years ago, and I just knew that that was a sure sign my business was crumbling. So
Mm-hmm.
I get that, and I'm with you in that. So I feel like if you're gonna price yourself out the market, triple what you charge. That's just me. Because I think you will lose people. But the question is, if you lose them, were they your ideal client anyway?
That's true. That's true.
You know? Um, and as one of the businesses that pay your company, shit, I'm already adjusting the budget in my head now that I know we raising prices. Like I'm gonna have to work harder, but you're worth it. You know what I mean? And
Well, and I'm hoping, that's the bargain though. I have to hope that the people that I service feel like I'm worth it. And I work
or
with,
find people who has a better budget.
huh?
I said, or find a client with a different budget.
Right. Yeah. I forgot what I was going to
No,
say.
the reason I say that, and then we'll jump to, because we only got about an hour left, so we'll jump to two. But the reason I say or find a client with a different budget is because part of the reason it took me so long to price the service accordingly is because I almost felt like to the person who could afford that, I wasn't their best option. So I did, even
You
though then,
devalue.
if you had asked me then, that wasn't the response you would get. But the mature me, the business owner me, the person who's read this book and understand which part of me was value programmed, when I hit a certain, and I think that happens a lot with Black women in general, you hit a certain level and you think, I'm not enough. You know what I mean? Or I can't do this. Or because when you level up, it puts you under a totally different microscope and a totally different light. And so it's always that fear of what if they see something I don't want them to see, or what if I fall short and everyone's watching?
But you know what? You gave me a piece of I'm trying to think if it was you or the book now that I'm thinking about it. But what it was I think it was you. Um, because as I have been considering changing my prices, we were talking about something one day, and you said something to the effect of, it made me think about customer service, and if I give my customers the best option, if I give them the absolute best of what I do, then that breeds more loyalty than anything else. And so if I raise my prices, but I give them the experience, that's what it was. If I give them the experience they're seeking, my prices aren't going to be an issue for them, because
Mm-mm.
people come a lot more times for the experience than for, I'll pay for, um, I'll pay for, I'll spend a lot of money on a hotel because I need the experience to be amazing over
Mm-hmm.
saving $50 to stay
And
at
it be basic.
scared Mark to leave my car.
Well, you know what? I think that's important because the one thing I'm proud, and if you look at all of our reviews, is people think we purchase our reviews. But the reality is I try to give everyone a genuinely amazing experience at Aesthetics by P. Brown. Like I've finally even got my staff to the point where they're able to figure out what this person needs, what they're trying to get in, what would elevate their experience, so that each time you come, we can level up your experience based off how we learn you. So the next time you come, you might walk through the door and we be like, girl, we pouring your wine now. Or, hun, come sit here and soak your feet while we do whatever. Because in this day and age, genuine social interaction is not something you get. Like, everyone, you could be sitting at a table with four people and all four people are taking Snapchats, Instagrams, TikToks, and they all creating different experiences. If you saw all four of their stories, it doesn't even look like they were at the table together. And so I find that people look for that customer service, and that customer service that says it's about you, not me. And they'll pay whatever, girl, they'll pay whatever they want. They'll pay whatever they need to be able to do that. Okay, step number 2. I think I dropped the mic, Leslie. Hold on. Let me see. I've adjusted the mic. Y'all, Leslie is on she's on our comments. So if y'all leave comments, if you jump on a replay, baby girl will be the one to look at the numbers in the replay. Thank you, Leslie, for letting me know that I did lower the mic, and I apologize. So run the numbers. I think that was also a very valuable lesson for me, was learning to run the numbers. Like, it tells you to sit down, look at this life that you want to have, look at this business you want to have, and then calculate the cost to get there. The thing I don't like about vision board parties, and I know as soon as I say this, somebody at some point is going to come from my head, but I'm okay with that. I stand behind it. Is putting the picture up on the board does not create the vision. Putting the picture up on the board and then mapping out the steps to get to that picture is what creates the vision and executes it. You know what I mean? How do you feel about this step, run the numbers? Was that an easy thing for you to implement?
You know what? It was ideal. Like when I got through all of it, was it easy? It wasn't easy, but it was like motivating. It was encouraging. And so it did it did present a few challenges, just because I had to change my thinking, and but I thought it was like, I thoroughly enjoyed that exercise, but it was a little bit, because you think, until you honestly, until you see something in print, or for me, because I that's kind of one of the ways that I learn, but until you see in print, then you don't really know what you're working with. And so that's how it helped me.
Girl, I'm trying to figure, y'all have mercy on my spirit. There we go. I was like, I was gonna figure this out. Hello, Bree.
Hey,
So
how are you doing?
I am good. We were talking about this book, and I wanted to hit on something you said real quick, Beth, before I forget, because we were on step 2 of her 4 steps, or is it 5? Hold on, let me look. I think it's 5 steps to We Should All Be Millionaires. It was 4. Step 2 was run the numbers, and it wasn't when I read the numbers in my business that it was life-changing. Y'all, at that point in my career is when I ran the numbers, when I looked at everything I needed to make to be that person. And then the first time I hit those numbers, y'all, you would have thought I made 7 figures that day. You understand? Like, the first time those numbers became a reality, the first time I looked at our profit and loss sheets, our bank account, our sales, because, I think people forget that in business you have different things. And I hit those numbers. And then even flipping it to my personal life, the first time I created a budget, created a money plan, and followed it to the T and looked up, and there was the goal amount in my investment account, there was the goal amount in my savings account, there was that goal amount in my check. Y'all, I started writing everyone. I was like, I'm retiring. I ain't got to live like this no more. Jesus has come. Y'all, I became a whole new person. So, Bree, what did you think of this book? Because was it you that recommended the book?
Yeah, this was like, yeah, I liked her. She's been on a lot of the like the CEO School podcast and that type of thing, and like Maya, this other person that I follow, they all recommended her book, like a part of the big book launch. And it's really just, for me, was trying to figure out, well, what are systems? Where is somebody else who's out there who looks like me, who is like taking real steps to create this type of wealth for themselves. And it was like interesting to see your book, because it's kind of like she just does what she does in book form for everything, right? So she's just trying to find other women and try to get them, now you go teach a class, or you go do this, and you hold your conference. And so like it's this big platform thing. And so I appreciated her having her background in law and all the things that she did and all the things she went through. But for me, it was just like, just hire a nanny. Just hire a chef. Whatever you need to do, just go ahead and do it. Like, what are you suffering for? Or if you're that's just what it is. And so I appreciated the smaller goals of like the one where she's like, okay, if you want a bigger house, well, how much more money do you need to go get that house? Then go do that. And how are you trying to like generate said income? And so that was really helpful just to see her perspective and like what it takes to make money. So that's why I enjoyed it. And I'm glad y'all did too.
Girl, I was telling them early on, like I was not prepared for this, but I heard you talk about it. I even heard about this, you putting together your fantasy squad. I heard all of that. So I didn't even post the book club meeting until I could get this book up. So I had to wait for the one I was reading to finish. And then I felt like you gobsmacked me. Like I was like, this was beast. But I wanted to say something too when you were talking about she was like, just hire a nanny. I was talking to a soror of mine after reading this book, and she has been complaining for a good 2 years about, frustration, getting to and from daycare, all of these things. And I was like, hire a nanny. And she was like, I can't afford that. And I was like, so do you still spend $1,200 a month on daycare? And she was like, yes, because she wanted her kid in a certain daycare. She's a physician and she wanted all these things. I said, for $1,200 a month, you can hire a retired teacher to come in part-time, teach your kid whatever the heck you want, and your baby be at home and you not have this stress. And I feel like what I loved about that book is it's the mental. Like you feel like I can't do it. What's stopping you?
What's stopping you? And it's just, I think just seeing an option of something else you can live, like a different way you could live or a different way of thinking. Cause like it probably just never occurred to her. And I'm living my life where things just never occurred to me without this pandemic. I would have thought I had to keep being in traffic to go to all these schools to support all these teachers and do all this stuff, or I need to be a manager, or you need to keep climbing these ranks if you want to make $100,000 plus. And it was just like, without it, I don't need as much money if I'm not paying, $3,000 a month for daycare. I'm jealous of her $1,200. That sounds real nice. But it's like, if I'm not paying for daycare and I'm not paying for all this stuff, what am I paying for? And so we were really blessed because we had already done some of the financial stuff. So when everybody's like, well, you need to get rid of your car. My car is paid off and it's fine. It ain't bothering me. And so when the pandemic happened, they were like, we're going to have 3 kids. You need to get a bigger car. Well, we'll do it. I had my son on February 25th and the world shut down on March 12th. I would have a new car with a whole payment that's just sitting out there in the garage, not doing anything if you had listened to everybody else. And so it's like, y'all can go get your new Audis and y'all can go get your Lexus and y'all can get all this other stuff. But like when you were talking about goals, like for us, like when we hit that first $100,000 cash, that was like, you're on a different, that's a different thing. And it's just like, I just really like talking about money. And I feel like a lot of your other people don't. So it's just like, we're all kind of working with these fake numbers. How much is it? If I find anybody's address, the first thing I do is I go into Zillow to find out how much their house costs. Like I'm trying to figure out what is the scale that I'm working on.
My dog is looking at me while you're talking. I'm like this. And my dog's looking at me like, Mom. And no, I think that's real. I love that you go on Zillow and you do that, because if I'm honest, and Beth, co-sign me or don't, a lot of that conversation doesn't happen the way it needs to, because women are scared to address their finances. And they're scared that they're going to be vulnerable and find out that someone is in what they perceive a better financial situation than them. And now they're going to be like, well, I just wasted their time, because now they're going to think I'm stupid, careless with money. And you know what I mean? Like, it's so many sidebar conversations in our head. So many. I remember the first time I sat down, I think I spoke about her. I have a client, or she's my sister now. Like I'm her son's godmother. It's on paper, Kat. I remember sitting at the Cheesecake Factory with her, and I was just like, Kat, I'm losing money somewhere. You know what I mean? And even then, in that moment, I know it was wild because it was three of us, and the third person at the table, she didn't have to deal with the day-to-day numbers we deal with. So I was even a little nervous saying it because what my concern was, I think in the grand scheme to her would seem trivial. Like I run into a lot of women that's like, I wish that was my problem. And it was like a couple hundred. I was like, in the grand scheme of thousands, I'm losing a couple hundred. I can't figure out where this disconnect is, but I know it's costing me money over time. And she was just like, girl, I have a whole forensic accountant. I'm going to give you her number.
Yeah.
But the third party there was like, you stressing over a couple hundred in the grand scheme of 1,000. And I'm like, sis, it's that helps you get to the thousands. Like you can't lose money. Like let's help you. The whole team need to be winning. You know what I mean? So I get you. Girl, that first, you warm my heart. If you paying $3,000 a month in daycare and you like that first 100,000 cash, girl, we throwing you a party, okay? What was
Right.
the teachers? What was the teachers? How is that going, by the way? When we last talked, before we jump to the next one, how is that group going? You were talking about getting teachers together. How is that
did. It was good. And it was like one of those things where you have to be like, well, what is the intent and purpose? And so it was good for me to put myself out there. So I reached out to the people and the majority of them reached back and they were like, yes, I want to do something. But with that group, it's like it was a lot of teachers who were just like, I just don't want to be doing this, but I don't know what that looks like. And they're not exactly entrepreneurial. But I felt good that I had reached out to them, had some type of curricula that we went through and had lessons, and they were able to take it away and just develop our relationships further. So like when I do want to launch my own thing, you kind of have like a network of highly talented and capable women who are able to do that type of thing with you. And so where I've been from that is like partnering with my husband. And so we just went to an Airbnb for my birthday. And I had been talking about this place. It's called Pond Place in New York. And this influencer I follow, she went there with her family. But it's just this little house on a pond, but they charge $600 a night to stay there. And so I'm just like, you know, you're talking about real estate. You want to buy a real property, you know, they're going to want 20% down of like 200, you know, there's going to be a real limit of like what we're going to be able to do to buy that property. I think we should just build and put these little cabins on it and charge these same people $500 a night. And so for my birthday, we've been pretty hard still like in the house for like the pandemic. So we both work from home. Our kids are here. So we're trying to balance everything. We went to an Airbnb for my birthday, but he picked the place based on the other place. And so it's only 40 minutes from here. It's in Spring Hill, Tennessee. A musician owns it. And so he just built it over the past year and started renting it out in March. And so you start looking at what are some of the rough numbers. That place was all the way sold out all the way through March with only 2 days out. So, you know, they're making $15,000, $16,000 a month off this one little property. And so when I was thinking about like, oh, I want to make this center for women to kind of get away, I was still thinking like, oh, this needs to be in downtown Nashville. People are just stopping in after work and you're going to do these different things. And I was like, actually, I think I want it to be rural. I want you to kind of get away from everything. And it's really just communing with nature, that I could have this place that has these rural cabins in it. And we can do that same thing. You can come make earrings. You can come do art classes. You could come just walk in the woods, but it would still be $300 to $400 a night for you to stay in this little bitty cabin. So it just made me think about like, well, what is it? And so part of it is like, well, where are you going to get the capital from? So we have like a chunk of money. We have about $50,000 that we've earmarked that we can go do and buy property with. Right. But that might not be enough. So I'm trying to be like, well, how can you do it? And you read the Rich Dad, Poor Dad with all the stuff that's in there. And I remember years ago, it said royalties. And I was like, that's going to have to be it, because I don't really feel like messing with the stock market. So I'm just going to have to create some type of intellectual property that I can then sell, put in a book form, and then get royalties from. So I've been working on my book for the past year with my mentor. I won a competition last year for her to work with me so we can work towards getting it published. And so that's book number 1. And so today I was working on book number 2 outline and 3. And so there's like 6 different projects. But I just believe, you know, the more I write, the better I'll get at writing. And then I just believe in the Pareto principle that 20% of anything I do is going to be like super successful. So like even when I was selling teacher products, only 20% of them drove like 80% of all my profits.
That 80-20 rule, yes, ma'am.
I'm just saying, I made like 130 things, and it was only the top 10 that actually ever generated money. And then out of that, only like the top 2 are the ones that were making 1,000, 2,000, 3. It was just those. Those are the ones that are making you money. So I'm just doing that same thing with books. Like as long as I keep getting the ideas, one of these books will be a bestseller. One of these books will be made into a movie. And so that's what I want to use is like the seed funding for the real estate. It's just like, can I make these properties or things that I get my advance check? And this is money to now do. And it really just behooves me to write faster. Now that I've had a year working on one book and made a lot of mistakes there, I have like worked on my systems. So just working on these things and churn them out. And hopefully 2023 will be my year.
Land banks. Definitely do that. But
the one in Memphis, right? I saw there was one in Memphis and one in Detroit.
The one thing people don't realize is every county has a land bank. The one in Memphis and the one in Detroit are the ones that are the most popular because they're going through that whole regentrification wave. But if you're looking for rural land and you want to stay in this area, I would hit up the land bank in Mount Juliet, Lebanon, Tennessee. Look, now that you said that, I'm going to go look for it because it basically just says someone died without debt and without heirs. And if you look in those farming communities, I bet you that happens more often than people realize.
Yep. I was looking at the size of it. His was like 10 acres. I've seen like 14 acres. And then it's just like you're just buying the land. And so the thing was, I was talking about, it seems hard because it's like, I don't know anything about construction. And then, but it's like, neither did they. They're paying somebody or they know somebody. Like the guy who owned our place was like he's in a country music band. He doesn't know anything about hammering anything together. He might be a country boy or something, but you just got to go figure it out. And the next thing for us to do is just like, well, how much is it going to cost? Do you have the money? Do you know somebody else? Is there a different scale? So that's just what I wanted. I don't want to get another job. I'm leaving my job at the end of May, my current role. And I would just like to be able to have like, I've sold this book with the sequel. I'll have to write it eventually. And then I'll have like at least 1 or 2 more projects that I could potentially sell to do in the interim, so I can just kind of walk away.
You speak to my heart. Like, I love this group of women. Beth. Is she not? And look, you're speaking to her heart because she owns a ghostwriting company, honey. She's wrote every single one. I have 6 textbooks that are used throughout several colleges throughout the U.S. Beth was my ghostwriter. I was like, let me talk it into a recorder, email it to her. She's like, so I think that is dope. I do. I think I loved her. Let me tell you, she sold this book to me, Beth, at the last book meeting. I just wasn't prepared for how real it was gonna get. Okay, Leslie, baby, give me step 3 because I ain't even got this phone pulled up. If you can, thank you, baby. You see how the dream team work? I am loving it. Okay, brainstorm money makers. I feel like Bree kind of hit it. Beth, what do you do? Because she's at the bar high. Like she gonna have me revisiting my 5 and 10 year plan after this. What do you do for brainstorming your money makers, and how did the book help you reevaluate that?
I don't have an answer. I haven't gotten to that stage yet. I apologize.
I want to say, Bree, I applaud the fact that you stated the end game and then said how you were going to move to that end game. And what I'm realizing and I think that our community rarely talks about, is while I'm not 100% where I want to be, because for me, that's retirement at 45, I've been able to hit my markers consistently for so long that I'm starting to become complacent. And that's what this book showed me. Like we were talking about me not realizing what had value programmed me as far as business. And what I realized is I've become complacent because whether I wanted to admit it or not, I felt like, Portia, you've gotten this far. Like, don't get greedy. Don't like, I couldn't see past this bar because for so long, this bar was miles away. And now it's like, you just got to make it 25 meters. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that shift. I knew I want, like you, I wanted to get into commercial real estate. I wasn't sure how. I went to real estate school, got a real estate license because let me tell y'all, through the day spa, I have referred out well over 300 clients over 10 years to a real estate agent, right? I didn't realize it was illegal. And I mean, I never asked for anything, but it was illegal. It's illegal for them to give you any reward for a referral. But if you have a $350 real estate license, then they have to give you a reward or a referral fee for every referral. And it wasn't until I got in to that real estate course that I realized what money I was leaving on the table by my ignorance. Like, that was an eye-opener for me. I can't tell you how many times, Beth knows because we talked about it, I've gone and revisited conversations with contractors, financial advisors, because we have the 12,000 square foot building. And I'm like, oh, we need to talk because I feel like you did some that you weren't supposed to do. And now that I know better, I'm gonna hold you accountable for doing better. And so I love that. I love that you're doing the groundwork. I think that's the hard part of being the visionary and creating the plan, is also being that person that does the research. And I'm not gonna lie, girl, I could be lazy. I can't tell you how many times I'd ask Beth a question because I know if I just plant the seed, Father God, she gonna run a mile with it. She gonna wake up at 2 a.m, Jesus. And she gonna be like, let me Google this. And then 2 days later, she gonna come back to me with a whole dissertation.
Well, it seems like, Beth, that we must be kindred spirits, especially with you doing ghostwriting, because I'm like the same way. I'm like Inspector. I'm Gadget. I'm just looking like, what is the information? I told you I'm looking up where people live, and you're not supposed to have this information, but it's just helpful. I just want to know if I'm playing the same game. Like, are we on? Like, I don't even know what's the game you're playing. So tell me about your ghostwriting. How does that work?
I wasn't even planning on talking. No. You know what? I work with busy influencers who just need someone, like, they don't have time. They don't have time to do any of their own writing. And so I work with them, and I am my client's writer and whatever they need. Like, I had one of my clients asked me to write a eulogy for her to put on social media. And I was like, sure, I can do that, because my goal is to be their only writing source, and so our only writing resource. And so I work with busy influencers, just creating their content so that they can communicate with their audiences more effectively. And I thoroughly enjoy it. So I help people. I write blogs, newsletters, books, whatever it is that they need. Like I said, a eulogy, whatever it is they need.
Well, that's amazing. It's so funny how the world works. I was just looking at ghostwriting earlier today. One of my writing groups, they're trying to do like a chapter book. It's NaNoWriMo next month, where you're supposed to write a novel in the month of November. And one of them wants to do chapter books. And so I was thinking, well, maybe like a Nancy Drew type thing. And so I went to the website where the guy hired all the ghostwriters to write all those projects. And like all the books were written by him and a whole stable of other people. Oh, yeah. And then like The other ones like Cake Literary, they hire people to write there. So it's like you definitely like, oh, that's one way of like making money is writing the commercial fiction on that side. But it's like I definitely have heard of people doing copywriting for other people. So that's excellent that you have like a whole group of people who are willing to like have you be their voice out in the world for their brand and message. That's awesome.
Thank you. I applaud you for getting out there and getting that book done. That first one is the hardest one.
It's the hardest one, but it's never the first one, is it? This is like the third one that you actually finished, right? you had already one or two that were like, I don't know what's happening here.
That's part of the process, though.
It is. And so it's like, I'm at the point where it's like, well, I've written this book about 3 or 4 times, it's the same book, but it's like vastly different every time you get it. So at this point, I hope it's just ready for more line edits and tightening up developmentally, so it's ready to query an agent. We just had a pitch competition and a lot of agents, they were interested in it, but you want to submit your best stuff ever. Right. You just gotta put the stuff out there, you just gotta.
I can't wait to buy it.
Well, hopefully that the next one, I'm the real end goal for these books is Netflix money, Peacock money. I want you to take one of these things and turn it into a 2-hour movie. I want you to turn it into a TV show. I want you to do something with it so you can get that long money. Because once you do a show, that then helps you sell more books. And if you got it, they'll help you sell your backlist of books. And so just trying to make it like, I just want to make stuff up. Like, I don't know. She flies. I don't know. That's what I thought. That's what I put in. I don't know. You just put.
But ain't that what baby girl who wrote Scandal said? And now look at her. What's her name?
Yeah, Shonda Rhimes.
Shonda Rhimes. Yeah. I read her book and she was like, she used to play with the cans in the closet. She just likes to tell stories. I can't wait to read it.
It'll be good. That's the middle grade one. I was working on the outline for the dark one. It is dark. I was like, I don't know if I have the skills yet to write it. I might have to put that as like book 4 or 5. Like, I don't know if I'm talented enough to, because it's matching your skill level is what I'm finding. And so I can write this book, but I have to like, there's more processes I have to go before I get to that level. And I'm okay with that. You just have to keep on going. But this other one is like Wizard of Oz meets Handmaid's Tale. And it's like, it's dark. And then the one I'm reading next is about a boy and a beaver.
Talking about it though. Your face looked at traumatized talking about it. So
it's bad. It's like this bad stuff just be happening to this girl. She's just having a terrible life. It's like post, what do you call it? Successful America. And so everything's fallen to pieces. It's basically like another dust bowl. And you're living in this really religious, repressed society because it was like ungodliness is what caused all the stuff to fall. And so this girl, she's working, going through a trash heap, picking out plastic, trying to help her family get by. And basically she gets kind of married off like an arranged marriage. Her mean aunt is like, look, we can't make it. This guy said we can stay with him if you marry him. And she like, I don't want to do it. And she's been getting in trouble because her sister ran off and left them and her daddy died because of it. But the whole Wizard of Oz part is like basically there's a flood that sweeps her away and it sweeps her into like this prosperous land, which is basically where the rich white people, they like hold up when everything fell apart. They kind of made their own little enclave where they get to be successful. And then black and brown people, they kind of work. There are some black and brown people who are successful, but they do function more as servants. And so she finds out her sister's there and she was kind of used for like breeding purposes. So that this guy who's like an Elon Musk, he's trying to like, take over this little world and do this other stuff. So she's kind of like Dorothy and she builds her a little ragtag crew. She's got to go save her sister and her nieces that are now in different places as they go through to, finally see this guy who's been, keeping technology back. But it's so bad because there's enough stuff to help everybody. It doesn't have to be this bad, but he's just hoarding it and just letting all the black and brown people on the outside just live on subsistence stuff. So there's a revolution.
I'm sold. I need that to be book 1 because now you got me committed. Like,
it's just bad. It's just bad. I'm just like, I don't like, that's the way it scares me a little bit. I don't know how I'm going to finish this thing. But anyway, that's what Rachel, you just got to try it. So
I am very, very proud of you for just try. Like girl, that sounded good though. I don't think people know this about me, but for me, watching TV now is like just something I will do with my friends. Like we have to plan that because I get lost in a book so easily. And you just described a whole scenario that has me like, how do I add it to my book list? Who do I donate to? How do, because it sounds like it's going to hit a whole lot of sensitive topics.
Yeah, it's just like
in fiction.
But you got to be ready for it. But I think reading like these type of books and being around people like you who are, doing stuff, having your own businesses, y'all have clients, that just lets you just see a different side of life. And really, you just have to try. And it's just like, what is really holding you back? And so what is it? Like for me, it was like, I didn't have the right computer. Bought a new computer. It came here today. I'm on it right now. It's just like, what is holding you back? Just deal with it. Like I deal with a lot of graduate students who are grown, but they're like born in like 1999 and 2000, and they are falling apart. Like you are supposed to be teaching students and you're telling me you can't clean up your room. Like, I'm just like, what is happening? Like, so a lot of it is just seeing other people kind of not hit a bar makes you be like, well, I definitely don't have no excuse if you just seen everybody else and it's raggedy. Let's just be honest. And so it's just like, well, I can get off TikTok and finish doing what I said I was going to do.
I was just talking about how TikTok will just steal everything. Let's go with number 4, Queen.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I was talking to Leslie because she's been keeping them for me in the comments. So I think what you said though hit on that, which is why I called for number 4, because commit to your first upgrade. And I feel like everyone who they are getting to see and hear on this one has done that. Like the first step is the hardest step, having the vision and then doing the work to see how to make it come to pass. And then taking that step, moving that way. Okay, I need to make 100,000 a year. I could do that by creating digital works. I can do that by this, that, and third, and doing it. Because it sounds good. And I feel like we're in a day and age where people like to get on social media and talk a good game. But here's what I tell my students, because I often tell people, like, I'm not going to argue with you if my payroll is higher than your salary. I'm not going to do it. But I say that because if my payroll is higher than your salary, then I'm already know I'm making 3 times, 2 times, 4 times, whatever that you're making to try to tell me how to do something. And that's only important to me because the proof is in the pudding. The fruit is in the labor. And oftentimes I tell my students, like, you come to me with advice you got from someone on TikTok. If they tell you they made $1 million, I want to see them 7 figures. Show me your brick and mortar. Show me your this. Not that here's the thing, and this is, y'all, again, somebody's probably going to come from my head. I'm willing to stand behind this. If I say, show me the proof in your pudding, and you show me a $98,000 to $100,000 car, I am going to assume you are cash poor and stupid. Because unless you are a multimillionaire several times over, that $100,000 should be in an investment portfolio, making you money to pay your bills. Every millionaire, you know what? My father has so many salaries hitting the bank, it's ridiculous. And that man is debt free. He drives a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Like every person, every millionaire, every person of wealth, I personally know, drive like a Ford. Hell, I got a Prius. Like nobody puts money in things that are high dollars and things that are not going to generate them wealth over the long term. And so that was kind of my thing. Like you have people who make 6 figures telling you what you should do, but that things they haven't done, they damn selves, and calling themselves coaches. Because they took a class, and then turned around and regurgitated what they heard in the class before they even put it into practice. So if you hit a pitfall listening to them, they can't help you. They don't know, they didn't do it. And so I think that step, like the committing to the first step. Beth, you said it earlier when you were like, you keep revisiting It's Time to Raise Your Prices after reading this book. I love that every chapter, everything was double it. You know what? I don't even want to know what the number is. Just double it. I don't care. Like, I think that's a commitment. And it's a scary one because I get it. Like, not everybody is going to be on your team.
True. True.
And can I say, and this is me being real vulnerable, the higher I elevate, the more shit I hear about myself that is untrue, that makes me seem like a very non-compassionate, like mean person. The more I run into people and they're like, you are not the Portia I was told to expect. And it's just because the more we elevate, the more we do the work, the less we have time for the people who don't.
That's good. That's good. That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, Bree, I already know you done talking in hypotheses. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking to two writers and an educator. Y'all excuse my vernacular, but like, if someone's gonna come to you about a book, you're in the finishing process. They can't come to you and be like, girl, I'm gonna da-da-da-da, and they ain't even took step one. Did you take a master class? Did you look for a mentor? Hell, did you go on WordPress to see how to outline the book? Did you know that you could spell "and" with or without a D? Like, little stuff. And I think that's the hard part for us. Like, that fear of, as we commit and take that first step, watching people fall away. Would y'all agree?
Yes.
Yeah, it used to be more, but the more you take the steps, the more you learn you can rely on yourself no matter what. So then I'm not worried about it anymore. So I just turned 35 and I was like, I don't care about this job. Like, I've had other people that I talk to and they say these, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, your job and your, this, and I could care less about a resume. I'm not filling out anymore. I am not worried about it. And so it's like, once you get to the place, like, I'm not worried about you and your bonus or managing me, or if I hit my goals for you, for what? I want to go just chill. There's a place in Italy that is $2,500 for the whole month of November. And, I just want to be like, bye, I'm in Italy. Like, I could go live in Airbnbs and do the same thing I'm doing here. America's kind of trashy. It's like, I want to just go somewhere where I can go get healthcare and not have to worry about, well, are y'all paying for my teeth or is it my body, but not my head? It's just the whole thing. So,
girl, if we don't end up having coffee, dinner, you are definitely a chick that needs to be sitting in my circle. Do you hear me? Like, I applaud you. You.
No. Well, we just asked for too little. I just feel like I just didn't know what to ask for, and I was trained to be a very good worker for people, but I was never trained to ask myself what I want or what I want to do at this time that I have, and I can't do that anymore.
I think that's college, though, and I feel that now. Let me say this though: I am not in any way saying don't send your kids to college. Mm-hmm. I am not in any way, because I've been to college several times. I've graduated. I've done what I needed to do. I picked a trade. I didn't realize until reading this book, college trains you to be a good worker bee. It trains you to go, how can I help you meet your mark? It trains you to build legacies for Coca-Cola and Amazon and Google. Like, college will tell you, girl, if you can get on at Google for $30,000 a year, you hitting.
Good. That's good. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say, go ahead, because I was like, but a trade school, like, you better, look, I'm going to give you this skill. You better go make it happen. You know what I mean?
And a different generation, though, because college does train us to go work for some company. But I think I don't work with the kids of this day, but I think the young people in this day are more focused on going to college with a mission in mind. Like, when I was going to school, my parents were like, pick a school you going. And so I think kids now I would think that young people now are not just going to school to be a trades. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with trades. I'm not saying that, But people aren't just going to school just to get the education anymore. So there are people who are like wishing that they could be engineers in their own companies and stuff like that. And their dreams are different. Our going to school, when I went to school, our dream was to come out and get a $50,000 job. But now, nowadays, people's dreams are different. So school is a different option.
I hope so. I think you know what? I work with a lot of people. I get the pleasure of working with a lot of 20 somethings. And I think it's twofold in that, first of all, college is expensive.
All day. Any
And
school.
I personally believe they should start teaching financial literacy in elementary school, middle school, and high school, because we did Dave Ramsey's financial piece for kids with Brooklyn when she was little. And even if you stray a little, you just got to understand that there's a system. You got to understand the value of where you put your dollar, because I remember being 16. Y'all, I didn't truly understand what a 401k is. I just knew my parents had 401ks. And they were very happy that their 401ks was growing. So on my first job, when they told me I couldn't have a 401k because I was 16, I went home and I was like, Dad, fuck this job. Like, I was livid. Dad had to call HR. He was like, we got to figure out how to get the baby a 401k. Like, I remember that because what I saw from my parents was I needed a 401k. And if I was working, I needed to start investing in that the minute you cut me a paycheck. You know what I mean? And so I am very proud of some of the strides that this generation is making. I'm equally as saddened. I'm glad they're starting to focus a lot more on mental health. You know, there are times where my generation is like, baby, I often tell kids, like, I remember when Suicide Hill at UTC didn't have steps. And you got these people talking about, I got a note because I got a inhaler. Now you get to walk up some steps. You know what I mean? Like, I hope there's this balance coming through that, because I struggle. We talked about that. Bree, you weren't at the last Boss Lady brunch, I don't think, but I had, you've been the one. I had a panel of women. We were talking, and it was me and another lady, and this lady who owned her own company had asked a question, like they do. And her thing was that she had one of her clients had complained that one of her employees didn't do their job. So she, like any boss, had a conversation with the employee. The employee then picked up the phone and called the staff or the client to bless them out. And the lady who was on the panel with me, she was really corporate, right? And she was like, you got to document them out the door. And it took me 2 years. Would you say 2 years, Beth? 2 years to figure out why that statement bothered me. Okay. And it was because if you own the company, you set the tone and standard for your company. If you are documenting someone out the door that is clearly causing harm to your company because you're stuck in that corporate, see, the HR has to document out the door because they don't own it. They don't get to make those decisions. That documentation has to go to the people who make those decisions. But when you are designing your life, when you are building your brand, you don't have to check with anyone. Go, no, you can't harm my company. You don't have to document no one out the door. And so it was one of those things. But on another note, Queens, it is 7:30, which means it is dinner time for me and wrap up time for the book. Brie, I am loving you, Queen. We are definitely going to get together. In the comments, if you are catching this on replay, y'all, there is a link. In the link, if you read the book at the end, you know she had a beautiful list of the 7 daily habits of the We Should All Be Millionaire mindset. That link in the comments will take you to the PDF that will give you that 7 daily habits for free. Okay? If y'all are in the meetup group, I also have the link in the comments in the meetup group for this meet. And I have the link for the free PDF that goes with the book in this meet. I just want to wrap it up. Bree, what can we do as the women in business to support you and help you on this next step to becoming a 7-figure chick?
I think it's like the behind the scene. It's like the book. I have a mentor. I've got a writing group. So it's like you just got to do the work. You just got to put the words in order. For me, it's like, well, what are the ancillary things? And so it's really like the real estate. So I'm going to go look up the land bank to see if that's a thing, because I hadn't really considered what does that look like in Murray County or one of these other places that are within maybe an hour of Nashville that people can drive to. Let me go see if that's there. Let's go just look and see what the next steps are. Are there like virtual groups you can join, or people who are looking to build a cabin on top of a hill? I don't care. Just finding that type of stuff. So I think it's like people who are in that world, who are vettable, who are willing to teach and mentor people who are trying to do the same thing. So that's what I would like to be able to like leave my kids one day. It's like, we have a real estate portfolio of these number of places that y'all can go do, and that y'all don't have to get in this big debt cycle with college and mortgages and all this other stuff. Like, you can skip all that. Like, that's the system. It's all rigged. It's like, we're all in a debt cycle. So if there's anybody who is like, does the stuff, who operates with a sense of integrity and at a top level in their game, like, that's the type of stuff.
I am definitely going to send you a girl. My girl, Derica, does what you want. She's out of Memphis, but she does it globally. You and Derica are the exact same age. And the reason I think that's important, and I love that you said vettable, is because baby girl turns $10 million a year. Like, most people will turn that $50,000 salary. Like, and once you hit a certain level, and I say that to people, like, the blessings and the philanthropy that you can give. I love that she, like, during COVID, she fed something like 1,000 families and just made sure their groceries was delivered on repeat and things like that. But I definitely know a couple people in the real estate market, both in Nashville and Memphis, that I will send you a list. Leslie, if you can, I will do a group text between me, you, and Leslie. That's who's working the comments for me. She's my virtual assistant. She's my baby. And so that I can remember to do opening emails, introducing you to them, so that they understand that, like, this is one of our girls. This is part of the tribe, and we'll get that done. Beth, what can we do for first of all, thank you, sis, for jumping on with me, because for a while, y'all was just going to let me talk to myself. I was going to have personal moments. And Beth was like, I'm going to save her today, Jesus. So thank you, sis. What can we do as we're the Women in Business Network?
I can't. I think I'm hungry. I'm drawing a blank. I don't have something right now, but maybe later I'll have something to share or something that requests.
Okay. Well, I am going to exit this, ladies, by once again playing the trailer for this book. I hope anyone watching it on replay loves it. I thank y'all for joining us. And I will, if you have recommendations, post it in a comment on the meetup group, because I can't wait to see what the next book is going to be. That was good. I loved it. All right. Bye, queens.
Bye.
We live in a world where the majority of women are struggling financially. This is true for all women, and it's especially true if you're a woman of color or belong to any other marginalized group. And this is no accident. There are oppressive, patriarchal systems in place, systems designed to keep you overworking and under-earning. Systems that have existed for centuries, designed to keep women and people of color struggling and broke. But here's the good news. Despite all the odds stacked against you, you can defy the odds and you can win. Other women have done it. I've done it. I want to teach you how to do it. And that is why I wrote my book, We Should All Be Millionaires. In this book, I explain how to stop making broke-ass decisions and start making million-dollar decisions. How to change your mindset about money and how to really believe that you are worthy of having more money and capable of doing this. But this book isn't just about your mindset. We discuss what you need to be doing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly to increase your income and start moving down the path to wealth. Read this book and you will start making more money. Women are working very hard, but we are undervalued, underpaid, under-earning, and we do not have enough money. And that is why the world needs this book. We Should All Be Millionaires, right now. Who should read this book? Any woman who wants to have a lot more money, period. You work as a cashier at the grocery store? Read this book. You're thinking about starting your own business? This book is for you. You're already running a business, but you want to generate a lot more money? Read this book. You work for a big company, you're in corporate America? You should read this book too. Regardless of your current income level or profession, this book will open up your eyes, expand your mind, and expand your wallet as well. You will notice my face on the cover, and this is no accident. Once this book comes out, I want a young Black woman to go to her public library or go to her local bookstore or go online to shop, and I want that young woman to see a Black woman's face on the cover of this book. And I want her to think, if she can do this, then I can do this too.